In this video, I would like to show you how you can use the Product Backlog in Agemba. The Product Backlog has two panes. The main pane here to the right, where you can see all the different types of containers, releases or phases if you like, milestones, Kanban lanes, or collections. To the left, we have the left pane, where you can see all the stories that you can drag into these containers. These stories are the ones that you have created in the story map, or the ones created over here from the new menu. In the left pane, I can switch between different pre-configured lists and with various ordering options to find the stories that I want to plan or drag into my containers. You can also use the free text search field up here to find any set of stories that matches your search query. You can also choose to see the folders and epics just like you have in the story map, with the hierarchy from the story map as indents. One of the primary purposes of the Product Backlog is to plan your stories to releases, and in particular plan them if you're working in sprints. So right now I have chosen to view all my releases here, and I have already created a number of sprints in those releases. New releases can be added from this menu, and when you have a release, you can always right click or go to the menu over here and create a new sprint in that release. When I want to find the stories to plan, I can, for instance, select a list over here, and I can drag my story and place it exactly where I want to in my sprint. And that will then plan the story to that sprint. It is also possible to create stories directly in a sprint from the sprint menu. When you want to remove a story from the sprint, just right click or click the menu and click remove from sprint. And that goes for any item in a container, as I will show you. You can at any time choose to hide all items which are done to get a better overview. You can always export your view to a PDF in order to be able to print it. When you're working in sprints, you will typically work over here in the tactical backlog. Just like you can plan and order stories in releases and sprints, you can do the same for milestones, Kanban lanes, and collections. So now I have switched to view all the milestones that I have in this circle. I can drag my stories to any milestone, just like I showed you before for releases. When I do that, the deadline of the milestone is inherited to that story, which means that this is a deadline you must take into account when planning the story. If you work in Kanban, you can switch up here to show all the Kanban lanes that you have in this circle. You can at any time add a new Kanban lane or customize the Kanban lanes that you already have. For Kanban lanes, you can customize how many columns that lane should have, and thereby which steps each story should go through when being processed in a Kanban lane. Again, just drag the story into the Kanban lane in order to plan it. Finally, you can use collections. You can add stories to collections, and this is a neat way of arranging your stories without interfering with the primary story map hierarchy or with the planning of the stories. So it's just an arranging of stories. You can then choose, for instance, like you could do for any other collection, to show this, like you could do for any other container. You can then show this in the left pane. Go back to for instance, releases, and plan all your stories from this collection.